the output is the certificate, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there is
And we have gained
any
a lot also.
problem, if there is any mismatch happening or something, if your name is not correctly written or
Right, right.
the attendance or whatever it is, due to some reason, if your attendance is not, if your certificate is not being generated by ATAL, probably then you require that group. Otherwise, you can leave the group after you go. Please communicate to me the one. You can put it in the chat itself in that WhatsApp group. Message it in the WhatsApp group once you receive your certificates. Okay.
So that
Okay.
will be receiving, ma'am, by tomorrow, or
No, tomorrow we'll be updating all the documents which is there with us. We'll be updating, but tomorrow being Saturday, AICT is closed.
right,
Right.
right,
So next happens to be Sunday, AICT is closed.
Monday.
So they'll be receiving it only on Monday. So Monday evening or Tuesday morning, you will be somewhere 1 or 2 days from Monday evening.
Definitely, it's
Yeah.
required for this.
Yeah. Till that time, be in the group. After that, you can leave the group.
Yeah, thank you. Sure, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I hand over the session to Brijesh now. Yeah. Brijesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Brijesh? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'll start.
Thank you.
Is my audio clear, guys?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. I'm just sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we wanted to keep this session in the end, so we just have a clarity of what is the future going to look like. A lot of us did a lot of speculations in terms of what technology could do to us and where we will end up being in some time in terms of, 1 second. Right and left. Okay. Yeah. So I was talking about how technology has evolved over the last few years. Can anybody tell me how much time it has taken for human beings to evolve? In terms of to the level we are today, how much time it's taken for us? That kind of intelligence?
Like almost 5,000 years.
5,000 years. Okay.
Not that much of time, I think so. That is like evolution of human being, you're saying.
Okay. Okay.
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years, that's all, which means somebody in 1900s was probably not as evolved as what we are today.
No, physically you can say, but technically you can't.
Yeah, so we're more focused on technology, but that's not how we studied in school, right? We were talking of Charles Darwin and the theory of evolution, and said it took millions of years for chimps to become human beings, if that's the right way of extrapolation. We said it took millions of years, and for us to be what we are today, it took us definitely those millions of years to be. But the reason why, I mean, incidentally, a good example is what we spoke right now. A lot of you said it just took us about a few hundred years, a few thousand years to be what we are today. But that's not true. That's only because of the technological advancement where we feel that the world is shrunk, right? We call the universe is shrunk in such a way that everything is in our fingertips. I can literally talk to anybody that I want to. I can go to any part of the world in any moment. I can just book a flight ticket and then just go. All of this is being possible for us just because of the technological advancement. But we also have to keep in mind that evolution by itself has taken a lot of years, and it's not just about 100 years or 150 years to do things. To give you a perspective, the very first engine just happened about 250 years ago, and that 250 is like a minute frame when compared to the time from when we actually probably would have invented fire with two friction with two rocks, and then we invent fire. The early man invented fire. So probably from that day to this day, 250 years is like nothing. All right, and probably the invention of wheel. If you say the time it took for invention of the date of invention of a wheel to maybe the first cycle, the time it took to become a cycle is maybe 10,000 times more than what it took for a cycle to become a motorcycle or motorcycle to become a superbike. Are you getting? The curve is not linear. It's not like evolution is happening on a daily basis. It requires another 1,000 years for you to literally see the difference between how human beings used to be 1,000 years ago when compared to how they are today. But if you take maybe the things like starting from 0 BC or even before Christ kind of a scenario, you would say people look the same. People look the same, right? If people in the Roman Empire and all of that, they look the same. Or maybe even 5,000 years ago, when Sir was talking about the Gita, Krishna giving lectures to Arjuna, people look the same, right? In terms of how evolution happened. So there's a very subtle and a vibrant change that is happening in the last 250 years, especially in the last 20, 30, 40 years, that we are unable to forecast what it's going to be tomorrow. And that is the reason why it's become so difficult for us to, difficult for us as teachers to be able to tell or predict what is it that I need to study today so that I have a secure future tomorrow. And that's the same thing with our kids, our students in school, or anybody for that matter. Students are joining engineering in the first year of engineering, are not sure what the jobs would be like when they just pass out of engineering. That's not the case with any other profession. Imagine, no other profession. So for example, doctors, they've been studying the same thing for years, and the human physiology is going to be the same for the next 100 years. So whatever is in syllabus is something that they study, but that's not the case with engineering. And that's the craze about all kids trying to be engineers, right? We need engineers and not just engineering graduates. I just heard this a couple of days ago. We need engineers and not engineering graduates. I'm not here to make engineering sound like a very fancy thing. I'm just trying to say only one stream of our life or one stream of our whole human existence is changing so dramatically at a very fast pace. Nothing else is catching up. Be it accounts, it's the same. Maybe everything is now replaced by computers. Computers doing accountancy for you. Maybe in medicine, you have robots doing surgery. You need to operate robotic arms or end effectors to be able to do some surgery. But when you look at engineering, there's so much of unknowing that's there in the next few years. You cannot predict what's going to happen tomorrow. A very good example for this would be, I'll come to it in fact. Okay, so my presentation today is to look at the future of robotics. And when I say I want to look at the future of robotics, I have to know what it was before so that I can predict what it's going to be like tomorrow, clearly understanding what the present is like. Today, I need to know what's happening. I need to know what was yesterday. Then I can probably predict what's happening tomorrow. Okay, and trust me, it is not a linear curve. You cannot just look at your situation and tell something is going to become this tomorrow, right? Okay, go ahead. So every direction there are gradual changes. I just got this from Pop Science. This tells you we all have a common ancestor, but every minute change led to a whole new level of species. Every minute change led to a whole new level of species. We could have probably ended up becoming grass, but we ended up becoming human beings. Okay, had dinosaurs remained, probably it would have been a different scenario today. It would not have been 7.5 billion human beings on Earth. It would probably have been something else, right? Okay. This is something that you would have seen as a meme or as a comedy or all of these things, where people are going to end up into computers and then computers will take over. So this is not something that happened today, that came up as memes today. This is something that happened about 5-6 years ago, or maybe I can say 10 years ago. 2010, if you say, this is something that is trending, telling everybody is hooked to the computer. But if you look at what it is today, it is not the computer, it is a mobile phone. But maybe another 2 years or maybe 5 years down the line, it could be totally different. I'm talking of technology that is so disruptive and changing, right? 2007, we didn't have a smartphone. 2011 is when the first smartphones, affordable smartphones started coming, and that's when the internet became from whatever G to 2G and then 3G. We didn't even know internet had a generation number. And when suddenly 3G came and they said what we were on today was Edge and 2G, and then now we have 3G. 3G was internet. And I remember very clearly how we used to struggle for even 1 GB data a month. Okay, we used to pay about 200, 300 rupees for 1 GB data a month. And nobody could just imagine in just a few years, somebody is going to come up one fine day. It's not like evolved, no? Okay, next year we got 2 GB per month, and then we got 4 GB per month. No, it's not something like that. Somebody suddenly came and said, I'm going to give you data like for free. For 1.5 years, people in India got data for free. All they had to do is buy a SIM card, and every day 1 GB. So disruptions are happening parallelly. You don't have control over disruptions happening parallelly, which means it is not again a linear curve. Somebody came with data telling, I'll be able to give you data for free. Everything else changed. And today we are able to do online classes live with millions of people watching our classes. So for a moment, step back and think, what is it that I'm doing today that's going to help me envision the future and prepare myself, my students, and my children for the future? I'm not telling it's going to be robotics. I'm not telling it's going to be water scarcity. I'm not telling it's going to be food scarcity. I'm not telling you there's going to be no space for us to live. Something is going to happen. And it's not one thing, but a lot of things is going to happen. And we are to prepare children, ourselves and our children, to that future that we do not know of. And definitely that is a future that has a lot of problems. That's a future that has a lot of issues. And every problem that we are trying to solve will create another 100 problems that we will address. Take for plastic, for example.
No more pandemic.
Pandemic just came. We didn't know pandemic would come. And all our teachers, I mean, especially us telling we will never do just robotics, never said we will do online class. We like the human experience is very much required. So we will never do online classes. We want students to come to our center and learn. So we had a very restricted number of students coming down to our center. We were very hands-on class, and suddenly pandemic came and we were like, oh my God, now I have to make everything online. So you never know when that change happens. It's never gradual. It could be sudden. It could be an impact. And we are talking of a good example that I was giving you was plastic. I remember studying in school that plastic is one of the best inventions which is able to replace all kinds of materials, and it's very durable and all of that, and very inexpensive. Because I still remember, if I go back to my science class of 4th or 5th standard, we had a difference between a metal bucket and a plastic bucket, which was more advantageous. I still remember this. And we always had to say, oh, plastic is like brilliant and all that. And today, we are trying to stop people from using plastic. Plastic became so inexpensive. So I don't want to use the word cheap, but yeah, inexpensive, that we started using it. We started abusing the use of plastic. And this is something that we will eventually do, be it technology or be it in terms of what direction we are moving. And this awareness is what we have to bring in the education that we are imparting to our children. So the whole idea is to enable the makers of tomorrow. So our program is called Enabling the Makers of Tomorrow, where we help children understand what it is that the world needs tomorrow and how their skill sets today could help them solve world problems and make the world a better place. Okay, all right. So this is another good example that I want to give you. I think most of us here on this session know about, have seen this evolution happen. We've seen serial ports, parallel ports. The one on the left is called a PS2 port, PlayStation 2 ports, where you plug the monitor, sorry, the keyboard and mouse. The parallel port, the pink color one, which we used to plug our printers, the line printers, which used to print receipts for us. This is a serial port. This is a display port, like we used to connect our monitors to this port. And just about 20 years, everything just changed to just this one port. Could you just imagine, this just happened 2 years ago, not even like 10 years ago, just 2 years ago. This happened where everything changed to just C port. And just about a year ago, MacBook said, I'm no more gonna do any other ports, just the C port on every device, whether it's for internet, whether it's for display, whether it's for mouse, keyboard, hard disk, memory, anything. Or even to an extent of headphones, earphones, they said they will replace everything with just a C port. And if today's children come to the world and just see a C port and say, this is what the world is all about, how do you expect them to predict what the future is going to look like? For me, it was easy to predict this is going to happen because I saw the evolution changing. I mean, the technology changing from a serial port to a USB and from a USB to a C port. But today's children are just seeing C ports, okay? Today's children may not even know what landline phones were like. They wouldn't even know what a landline number is, right? And I mean, how these phones operated, how it was difficult to lay wires from every house to house, this we exchange and all of that. And we saw this transition happen. I mean, that's the reason I say this generation of teachers are one of the best people who will be able to, I mean, the right people who will be able to help children make the transition, because we've seen all of it happening. And that's something that we need to share with our children. Television, from what it was, the idiot box, to a smart television where you can literally do anything that you want, from browsing the internet to teaching to watching movies at disposal. You started customizing everything in a way where you could literally choose what you want to watch. Yeah, so this is what Apple recently came up with, telling they're going to replace everything with just 2 USB-C ports and for you to make a transition. Now, why I'm telling you this is suddenly when technologies change, there has to be some transition time required for technological evolution. So, I mean, adjust. So what they did is they brought up a connector that told, okay, you can still use your pen drive, which is still a USB 2.0 or USB 3.0. You can still use your mobile charger. You can still use your display, which is still HDMI, or you can use your SD card. But I'll give you a connector for it. So you get a connector, and there are people who manufacture these connectors that you can plug into. So which means over a period of time, don't you think that the USB pen drives that we have are going to change to this? Yes. Don't you think our all cables are going to change to just this port? Yes. But there's also a possibility that it might be totally different.
Yes, why not?
Maybe a new technology could come which could, we don't have to plug anything. You just have to keep it near it and it will work, like how you have your wireless chargers today.
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Yes,
So
yes.
our prediction of technology, we don't know anything about. Let's be very frank about it. We don't know at all. So tomorrow somebody comes up with a foldable touchscreen and suddenly everybody has a phone that has foldable touchscreen. Nobody imagine that that's something that's going to happen. But somebody invented something and it helped everybody. Somebody invented a phone and it came to everybody. Somebody invented free internet or provided free internet and it came to everybody. Never did I imagine that ATAL is going to give me internet for free. It's happening because of competition, because of pressure, because of consumer pressure and all of that. So this is the transition that's happening. And during this transition, there is some adjustments we need to make. And let's understand that we are actually in that transition. The adjustments that we are making, the change that we are undergoing from a regular classroom education to an online education today, just in the last 3, 4, 6 months, is something that's called the transition. We are making the transition. Not all of us have computers. Not all of us have a smartphone. But now we are forced to have a computer, forced to have a smartphone. Some people said they're never going to buy a laptop. But when they realize that will not be able to take a class, they said, okay, fine, I have to. So you cannot assume this is how tech is going to be like. But understanding of what happened and what some of the changes that you see around you, you will be able to predict to a good extent that this is what is going to happen. All right. So scientists are already predicting that mobile phones are going to become so addictive that you will have a separate branch in psychology. I mean, in fact, it's right now there where it's called the Digital Media De-Addiction Center. So all digital forms of addiction are, I mean, there's a de-addiction center that takes care of all of this, where they help you overcome the addiction to telephone, or I mean, cell phone, TV and internet and all of that. So this is going to come, this is going to happen, and new branches are going to evolve as a solution to a problem that we created because of another solution that we thought was going to work for all of us. Okay, this is a very classic example that I give to most students and teachers and engineers, my colleagues and everybody. And I've been giving this example the last 12, 15 years in terms of what is technology needed tomorrow. Okay, so if you ask students who are in PG or like people who are like just out of home and I mean living out of PG and all that, they find it very difficult to iron their clothes, or they give it to a laundry service and then get it ironed and all that. So back then when we were in college, I used to be like, why don't we have a ironing machine for our shirts and pants and all of that? So why don't I invent an ironing machine? Because we're so crazy about robotics. We're like, yeah, we're going to do this and all of that. And somewhere in our third year of engineering, we came across this when we went for our final year placements. I think in a final year. Before our placements, we all go to all we friends go to buy a nice shirt so that you could wear on the day of the interview. And then we realized there's something called as a wrinkle-free shirt. Now look at it. Now I wanted to build something that could iron my shirts automatically, and technology on the other side, somewhere someone did it. They brought in something called as a wrinkle-free shirt, which means that shirt doesn't need ironing at all. And had I invented or invested my mind, time and everything into building something like this, it would have become obsolete, because everybody would start buying a wrinkle-free shirt from now on. Okay, so there's always that cost versus benefit, what time you bring to market, the time to market, all of these things play a major role in technology changing every day. So it's very difficult to predict what's next. Like we said, if the curve is going this way, I can say the next point is going to be this, it's going to hit this. But we are at this juncture today. We don't know what it's going to be like. It could be this, it could be this, it could be B and A, or it could be coming down, right? Okay. How many of you know this picture, can relate to this picture? I think the 90s kids have watched this on television. Anybody?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter?
No. It's a very famous Hollywood movie.
Time Machine.
Yeah. Okay, it's close to Time Machine. I've given you the clue there. This was a series of movies. It's a movie series called Back to Future. Okay, where they were talking about time travel, where the kid's dad invented a machine, and then he tried to go back in time to change certain things.
Sorry, Prakash, but this movie is about Back to the Future.
Yes, Back to the Future. Yes. So there were all the science fiction movies that said this is going to happen, that's going to happen and all that. And there's a lot of relation to that. So people really thought, okay, we're going to have a machine that's going to take us to future and bring us back in time. And is something that is possible? I would say yes and no. I would say yes, because I am able to look back at my memories using photographs, videos and all of that. I may not be able to go and influence, but am I able to see something in future? No, that's not possible. But will I be able to travel from, like a time machine, I'm able to travel from one place to another place? This very famous serial on Doordarshan is Shaktiman. in which there was a time travel machine where you could just go inside and the person goes to a shop in Kerala, brings idli and serves people. I remember this watching this as a child. I was like, okay, is this happening? But I see a similar thing happening today where I take my phone or do something on some buttons on my phone, and after a few minutes, I have idli on my table. And which means some fiction that we thought could be possible is actually happening to us in a different way. Maybe in the not the way we envisioned it to be, but in a different way. It's happening to us. Okay. So I'm just telling technology could be evolving, it could be deceiving us, but we really have to look back and see, okay, this is what is happening. And yes, we did predict it's going to happen. There are a few movies, especially the cartoons, which said they're going to be all flying machines, flying cars, and everything going around here and there. And today, if you actually look at the air traffic is crazy. Maybe you can Google search for air traffic in Bangalore or something, just maybe before the pandemic. You would see that flights are running around everywhere and everywhere. Just that they're not crashing into each other because they're at different heights.
London, 2 minutes, one flight goes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, every 1 or 2 minutes, one flight, and especially a city like Singapore or a country like Singapore, you would see that flights are just running randomly, and there are different altitude levels for different flights just to ensure that they don't crash to each other. Which means something that we thought could be the future is already happening, and some things we thought could be future will never happen. And maybe that technology has become obsolete, or some technology is so totally destroyed. Especially in 1945, the Second World War, when it ended, there was so much technology that the Russians and the US had built. Especially what you see in the MI7 and the Mission Impossible movie series, that technology existed, and people had to destroy a lot of technology, primarily because it would get into the wrong hands and become something else for us as disaster. And a lot of technology was destroyed that way. In terms of spying, in terms of doing a lot of things, all of this was something that was okay. Coming back to our topic that is talking about the robotics revolution, as to how robotics is revolutionizing things around it, and it's happening. Will robots displace my job? No, I'm gonna probably retire another 15 years or 20 years. Maybe robots will not take over. But is it gonna displace my children in terms of the job that they work in? Maybe yes. Maybe their children? Yes. Maybe. I mean, that's something that's possible. Or the world might end before that. There are some optimistically pessimist people who think the world is going to end any which ways. So let's not bother about all of this. Okay, so this is from a school in Bangalore called the Indus International School, where they had a robot actually teach a class of physics. So this is the teacher, the robot teaching. The kids are more excited about the robot than to learn from the robot. But maybe with time, if that robot was there in the class for maybe a year, they would have got used to it as a regular teacher. But this is something that's happening. So are you telling that teachers are replaceable? Are you telling teachers are replaceable? No. We still saw more than 4 or 5 people in the classroom when the robot was teaching, which means we still need to do a lot of things. But we are trying to, in a way, say that there might be a case where we might have to work around figuring out if teachers are really replaceable or not. And I'll come to this point. So we also built a platform.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Then it is a threat for us. Then.
No, you don't have to think that as a threat. So that's exactly what I'm trying to tell now. We also built a platform called the Remote Robotics Teaching Platform. This is not to replace teachers, but this is primarily
can we have teleporting for the teachers, like on one teacher teaching in several places?
Yes. That's something that's already there. Right now, whatever you're doing is the same thing. You can have multiple Zoom sessions happening with live cameras and things. And that's something that's possible. Okay, so what we tried building, this was about 2-3 years ago, is a robot. Okay, what does this robot do? It looks like a human being, the teacher, and all that, with the screen and all that. Why we wanted to build this? It's not to replace teachers, but to put teachers in those schools that did not have teachers at all. A lot of schools in India today do not have teachers. We might be a 1.4 billion population country with very educated class of society, and all of that. We might be producing the greatest number of engineers, great number of doctors. We might be a very technologically advanced country in all of that, but a lot of schools in India today do not have teachers. And in the last 6 months, we've seen none of the government school children have had any sort of access to any kind of education. The maximum the teachers could have were able to do is record videos on WhatsApp and send it across the kids on their WhatsApp phones. And those who had a smartphone or a mobile phone could access it, but very difficult for a lot of children to be able to continue any sort of education for the last 6 months. And I myself have students who are now in their 10th standard, who I used to teach them for 2 years in government schools and have no access to anything. They don't know how they're going to take the 10th standard exam. And for a moment, you have to think that in the 6 months, what we did as individuals, we were like, okay, how am I going to conduct class? How am I going to do this thing? At the same time, there's another India that did not have access to any of these things. And even today, that's the case where they're like, let's start school somewhere. We're going to figure out what's going to happen to us, but let's start school somewhere. We're not able to drive this through the online education, and none of us were prepared for it. Okay, none of us were prepared for it. So what we did is to help, because I teach at NGO in Tamil Nadu, where I go there once or twice a year and teach them things. And I wanted to have the continuity in terms of teaching. So I wanted to put a robot there. I sit in front of a computer here and do the talking and everything. And the robot there displays that and with audio and all that. And if I want to go near a student and talk, the impact that a teacher is able to make by going near a student and talking to that individual student is far higher than just sitting away and just giving a lecture. And interestingly, I see in your classes also, all of you call out some student's name, or you tell somebody something because they feel connected. The moment you call out that student's name, they're like, okay, the teacher is paying attention to me. They have that feeling, and that encourages a lot of learning, and that's something that's very important. So we wanted to build this platform to primarily do this, where there are a lot of people in Bangalore who can't go to remote villages every day, but during the free time they can take classes. All they have to do is have a good internet connectivity. And I would not have thought that this is a possible thing if not for the free internet, a very low cost internet, and the internet towers present in every nook and corner of India today. There might be a place where the electricity would not have reached. Oh, sorry, you do need electricity. There are places, there might be a place where water supply would not have reached, proper drinking water supply, but you would have had a cell phone tower with 4G internet on it. So this is the state that we are in. That's exactly the reason why we tried building it, but then we had to totally put it on hold because of a lot of other work that we were doing. And that's the reason why we feel teachers are irreplaceable. So do not think that you can be replaced. You cannot be replaced. No matter what happens, teachers are irreplaceable. Robots might come, AI might come, ML might come, everything might come. Trust me, today there are 1 million courses available on the internet. Yet, why is it that we are dependent on schools and teachers? Is it just because of the degree, or is it just because of exams? No. Teachers do a far more greater job than just passing on information. Okay, and that's exactly the level of respect that we as a country have for teachers, and as the world also. The world respects teachers much more than anything else, and that's something that we need to remember. So we are not replaceable. Teachers cannot be replaced. In fact, we are the enablers of those technology-driven platforms for children. And children will be able to do things, students today will be able to do things only because there's a good teacher who's helping them do things. And what I am today is because of my teachers who helped me become what I am. In the remotest way, there might be just one incident that I would remember with them, but I still know that teacher told me this particular thing, and that's the reason I'm. And this doesn't happen with robots. We are still social beings. We are still live in a society we are no more a factory. I mean, we are not at all a factory-driven system. We are a society. So teachers are not replaceable. Don't ever bring that thought to your mind that teachers are replaceable. They're never replaceable. Will robots steal our jobs? Maybe yes, maybe no. So this is a robot machine that's actually making coffee. You have a coffee maker that makes coffee. It's easy to build a coffee maker, but if you're asking the machine to do this for a coffee, maybe it will say I need to do a lot of other things. So this is something that looking at restaurants, maybe if this technology existed just after pandemic, people would be more than happy to go to hotels and restaurants because okay, no human beings, nothing, only robots are doing everything. So there's a very high chance that I would not be exposed to germs and all of that. So this is something that would happen. So in a way, robots will steal our jobs, yes. But you still need people to program robots, still people to take care of robots and all of that. So at least in the next 50 years, or maybe 20 years, I don't see a very drastic stealing of jobs by robots. And somebody has to manufacture robots if that's it.
I want to add in something here.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, once you told us 3 laws of robotics, you remember, right? In
Yes.
one class, you told us first law, second law, third law, and zeroth law.
Yeah.
In that, the first law said that the robots should not harm the humanity or humankind and should not allow as well the humankind to harm itself.
Correct.
But when we are making these robots which are making coffees for us, and they are replacing some people who used to make coffees in that restaurant or some place, so don't you think it is kind of a harm only that we are doing to those workers?
But I think the resources should be provided by the humans.
Totally
Until and
agreed,
unless you
ma'am.
provide the resources, the robots cannot work on their own.
But to an extent, they are
No.
reducing the number of people involved.
Yes.
Because
What I
see,
want to say is they are reducing the labor, agreed.
Yes.
Totally agreed. But think about that labor who was in a dire need of money just because through which he or she was earning.
So that is what
due
I
to
mean.
robot,
The number of people they are reducing. So the number of people who are involved in the job, that is being reduced. So it is a harm to humanity in a way.
Yes. So aren't we already defying the laws?
No, but we can't avoid the robotics explosion. You know, in this cyber age, we can't avoid such situation.
But really, it is harmful for human.
I'll take over the debate from here. I do understand this
It
will
is a
become
debate.
a great debate because there were amazing debates that used to happen in class, but there were some debates that never could be stopped. So
Sir, please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir, of course. I just wanted to
problem.
say that is it. I didn't
No
want
problem.
to ignite that debate here.
No problem at all. So I mean, I was hopeful that this is something that we will always argue about, but always remember one thing: as teachers, we cannot be polarized. Okay, we cannot take a political stand. Very important. We cannot take a philosophical stand. We cannot take a religious stand. We cannot take a stand on how things are. Our job is to create awareness. Okay, our job is to create awareness. And because I would be able to influence a great number of people.
I think some students are drawing something. Actually, yeah.
That's fine. That's okay. Yeah. So I will be able to influence a great number of students, and what I influence them should be something that is limited to them to decide, right? You cannot influence somebody to decide something for themselves. You can only enable them to think, ask questions, and that's our job as a teacher. And that's the reason why it's very difficult to say it is a wrong thing or it is actually displacing a lot of people from job, versus it is actually making things more efficient. It's saving a lot of energy. It is trying to create job in a different sector and all of it. And that's the reason I gave you another brilliant example of something that already happened. If you said 1995, when okay, I think it's about 2000s, I think, when banks started computerizing their whole system. Yeah, about 2000, the 98, 2000 times, when they started computerizing their whole banking system, a lot of senior accountants, clerks, a good number of managers resisted the whole change. They said, no, this is not going to happen. We're not going to let computers do our job. We're going to still have banks run like the way they did and all of that. So a group of people at that part really faced difficulty in making the transition. They could not understand what computer is. They could not understand the computer language. But today, because of the transition, see what has happened, that we are able to make transactions just on our phone. If banks were still on the same system as it was earlier, because a group of people faced inconvenience, of course, there is the humanity angle where I'm looking at, I'm replacing jobs and all of that, but definitely it is a responsibility of someone who's bringing in this technology to ensure that somebody doesn't face the wrath just like that. It is important to compensate. It is important to replace them into a different place and not just displace them. So this displacement is not going to happen suddenly. And I've seen a lot of companies, when machines started coming, instead of them losing jobs, they were actually put in different departments which required human intervention. And this is left to the companies or organizations or the governments to decide how they want to take care of the people. And there are organizations that are so very good that no matter if the whole plant is automated, their staff which was there were still retained and ensure that they made the transition very well. And this is to do with the human nature of us, like how Professor was speaking in the earlier sessions. Everything boils down to that human nature of us. Like what do we feel is right? Is it that we want to make a world like a fully automated, more efficient system, or we still want to have that humanity in us? So it's always a debate to argue between robots are replacing jobs and all that, but this is something that will happen. Like I said, the revolution is happening. Okay, this is happening. We don't have a say in stopping it. That's not going to happen. But what are we doing today to enable our children, our students, and ourselves to be able to make the transition? And this is not going to happen just like that from somewhere today. Okay, fine. You are not here from tomorrow because we have a robot doing it. No, the robots also will undergo some part of 6 months of trial, telling, okay, let's see if the robot does it. Will the robot spill a coffee, or robot crushes the glass? All of this is taken care of, and then they slowly make a transition. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. Technology will not disrupt just like this, anything that you're adopting. So you have to be very keen about the transitions that are happening. There are signals that keep coming, and you should be very much aware of it. Robot nurses. So there are a lot of possibilities. I mean, in fact, a lot of places where there are robot nurses. In fact, the current pandemic paved way for a lot of people building food delivery and medicine dispensing and all of those technologies. And just because they tried to evolve in such a way, for there was a need, and that's when they wanted to put in robots to these functions. Robots in space. Yeah, it's very dangerous to send human beings to space. You don't know what's going to happen. So let me send one robot and see if I can get all information, and then maybe next trial I'll send a robot. Why am I putting this slide, which I put in the first day of my session, is the reason. Look at this year. It says 1920, and we are exactly 100 years from when the first use of the word robot happened. We're exactly 100 years from the year when the first use of robot happened. And we are now afraid of the very robots we created, that they're going to take our jobs, they're going to replace things, we don't know where they're going. But confidence in people are building robots. It says, they very clearly say that robots will never be able to take over the future, at least in the direction that it's heading. Now that is where AI and ML is coming into the picture. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. Robots will not come and carry you and throw you and do things. That's not going to happen. Maybe an intelligent machine could just turn off your computer from a remote place, or maybe just shut down your generator from a remote place, or maybe just stop your car in the middle of the road, or maybe control your car and take you anywhere that it wants to. You may not have robots coming and literally fighting with you, like how you see in this picture, but it could be AI systems that could be doing the job. So be aware of the cues, be closely associated with what it is. And since the human lifespan is just 100 years, maximum 100, I think it's about 70 years now, it's going a little more and less and all of that. But because our lifespan is so little, our learnings of the yesteryears, it's very difficult for us to pass on to the next generation. And that's where teachers play a very prominent role. And the reason I wanted to bring all of this point here today in the session, when we talk about the future of robots and the scope for robotics in terms of the kind of jobs it creates and all of that. So that you can be very confident about robots creating more jobs tomorrow than what it is today. So that's what the robots are going to do. So you have to very carefully choose the stream that you want to get into and how it is. And as teachers, it's important for us to make our children aware of the importance of robotics, be it any profession that they're going to take. Be it they become a farmer, they become a doctor, they become an engineer, they become an accountant, they become a blacksmith, they become a goldsmith, they become anything that they want. A fisherman, anything. Robots are still going to influence a larger part of their life, and creating that awareness in children is what is our job. And that's the reason why this whole robotics curriculum that we are training the CBSE teachers, primarily to ensure that you are not left out in the whole journey with robots. And this is what it is. Okay, so what we as Just Robotics doing for making this transition and helping people do is we've come with a program called Make Many Robots, where we talk about things like programming, design, mechanics, sensors, electronics, and all the components that go into building anything. So take anything on your table, like this phone or this earphone or the computer or anything. This involves these four major things. One is programming, one is design, one is the mechanics, the structure and all that, and then comes your electronics. So these four things today is what is in any product that you see in the world, be it your TV, be it your car, your mobile phone, anything that you see around, you see these four components in it. And these four components is what is the components of robotics. And that's the reason we teach robotics through these four components, because you are able to create a better tomorrow by understanding what are the needs like, and then you become a problem solver than a person who would create problems. You would become a job giver than a job seeker. So this is the kind of transition we want to make, and that's where we want to influence a greater part of the society. And also, I mean, teachers would be able to influence more and more students. So this is our program. Like I told you about my students last year, along with Akshaya Patra Foundation, we did the robotics program for about 250 government school kids continuously for 2 years. We were not able to do it this year, primarily because we were not able to figure out how is it that I would continue with teaching these kids, where minimum access to technology is something that's not possible for these kids. So you see them actually working on our kids. It used to be every week we used to go there for 1 hour and conduct this class. We used to select about 25 students in every class and conduct this program. And we've seen that they have the same set of excitement, understanding, and all of that you see in any school across the world. And then we realized that it doesn't matter which school, who students are, but understanding of technology is very important for all of them. And that's where we came with the whole idea of Make Many Robots. This year we won the Elevate Award for the Make Many Robots program. The mission is to democratize STEM and robotics education, where we want to take robotics and STEM education to every nook and corner of the country, in terms of the affordable, the non-affordable, and all of that. And that's the direction in which we're driving. So we've been given grants from the government to actually implement this project, and that's something that we are working on currently. And that's the reason you would see all the pictures, the sketches, and all of that you saw in the last 4 or 5 something we created to ensure that learning becomes as good as watching cartoons. And
in Kendriya Vidyalayas, we have ATAL tinkering labs.
Yes,
I'd be aware of it, under which the robotics is being taught to the students, and we have trainers who come from outside and they train our students.
Right. So I myself am a mentor of change for a school in Bangalore. So I've did a couple of sessions. I've done one session for KV in Bangalore also, KV
Right.
Hebat.
Right. I'm from Kendriya Vidyalaya. So in our school, we have that ATAL Tinkering Lab, and we are being supposed to take over the charge and teach robotics. So this is going to help a lot.
Very much, very much. So the intention here is to be able to create an opportunity for all of us to learn and go forward. We cannot deny anybody education, and every stream of education is important. At the same time, like every other subject today, robotics is also becoming a very important subject for students to learn, and that's where we are trying to enable the learning. So our program right now, this is one of our programs that we have where we thought we would be able to give you a link to it. And there's a special coupon code. We're limiting it to 15 numbers in case any of you have anybody who would want to register for the program and look at learning the whole program in terms of hands-on learning, especially for the kids. This is the link that you have to go check, and then the coupon code is specifically for the ATAL workshop participants. You can share it with anybody, be it your student, be it your children, or be it anybody or yourself. And we have a lot of adults also taking up our program. So don't worry about the age and age gap. And we have limited this coupon to just 15 participants. Only the first 15 will be able to use this coupon code, and afterwards it will expire and the price will come back. This is the price right now, and then you would get a discount by when you use the coupon code. Yeah, the laws of robotics, like ma'am was telling, that it may not injure a human being and all that. But like I told you, it's not a hard and fast rule that it's not injure or cause humanity to come to harm. We have a long way from this to happen. And by this, I would like to end my session on future and scope of robotics. But at the same time, I would like to open up the stage for questions. Anything to do with robotics, the way you do it, or I mean anything general. I'm okay to take up any questions. So the next half an hour is going to be for questions. The website, I mean, you just have to go to bit.ly/bymmr. MMR stands for Make Many Robots. And ATAL CBSE 15 is the coupon code. Just coming back to, cool. Yeah, cool. I'm done with my session. So we are done. Just Robotics as an organization is done with all the 5 days of sessions that we conducted. We have done the recording and kept it open for you to share it with as many teachers and students as much as possible. And we want you to share it as much as possible, because one is it's not just the participants who registered. We want everybody to know it. So we'll be putting all of this in the public domain, and you can always reach out to us for any kind of queries you have, any support you require, be it your school lab or how you want to do it in your community. It could be your own spaces. We will do all the support that is required for you to be able to take this to many more teachers and children, so that we become a more enabled nation and a society. And let's not cripple ourselves by limiting ourselves to only what we learn in the books. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Brijesh.
Yes, ma'am.
The one which the link you have shown us now. So that link, once we register, so it will be a live classes will be there for the students, or only the study material will be provided? What is that, sir? Can you just?
There will be study material provided and videos provided, and there will be 2 live classes in a week, where we will have interactions and explaining of certain concepts. So why we do the live session and why we do it in a group is because like right now, there are 80 participants in this group, and only 4 or 5 of you ask questions. But doesn't mean that the others do not have questions. It might be a question that they had in their mind but didn't want to ask. So that interaction in a live class will enable a lot of students to think, and a lot of their questions are answered. And that's the reason why we're doing it. So live sessions, we are doing 2 sessions per week. So in 6 weeks, we will do about 12 live sessions. So this will be any class. It could be random. It could be, but it's focused on whatever level. So if a student has done 1 week, 2 weeks of program, so that live session is only for students who have done 2 weeks of the program. So they're all on the same level. in terms of.
So how many hours it can be in a day? Like you say, in a week, 2 classes will be there. So
I would say the live sessions would be maximum 2 hours, or both the sessions put together, and maybe the recorded sessions, if you and you're practicing, it could be another 2-3 hours. But you can take that up any time, like maybe even in the midnight or Sundays or Saturdays or evenings or mornings or anytime. So the live session is something that will be scheduled in accordance with everybody, and the other sessions is something that you can take up anytime because they're all recorded. Concepts can be recorded and put, like textbooks. Concept videos can be recorded and explained, but doubts and clarifications and questions cannot be recorded and put as FAQs. So that's where we want to do the live session.
okay, sir.
Any questions? Either you've understood everything or.
Sir, can you just give us the link once again?
The link for the course? Okay.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat, please.
I'll do that now.
Hello, sir. If I put my son in your course, then what are the topics you will cover in that course? Can you tell me?
Hello, Brijesh.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Brijesh.
Yes, ma'am.
Brijesh.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. Hello. I can hear you, ma'am. Hello.
Yeah, I'm asking him.
Ma'am, I can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah, Brijesh.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you're done.
Yes, ma'am. I'm done. I've left the next 20 minutes to ask questions. So in case they want to ask questions as to what questions will come in the quiz, they can ask me now.
Yeah. Oh, you are helping them, is it?
The quiz will be objective.
Yeah, the quiz will be objective.
It is multiple
Oh, we
choice.
didn't know we can ask
It
this
is
as well.
multiple choice. Yeah.
So we will pass.
Brijesh, you are not going to give the answers, Brijesh.
No, ma'am, I'm not giving the answers.
How come? We don't know the questions, so how we can ask the questions?
Hello. Hello,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
students. Participants, attendance link is shared for this particular session. Please join and fill up the attendance sheet. You have any queries from any sessions which are there apart from the 2 sessions? Please, you can ask. He is there to share the information or anything, whatever you want from him. Brijesh?
Yes, ma'am.
YouTube will link share ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ attendance.
Yes. I'm doing.
Attendance link in YouTube.
Yes. Share, ma'am.
Sir, Brijesh, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, thank you so much to you and your team, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
So this 5 days training, while you are teaching, I am talking about myself. I am understanding, but while doing hands-on, it is difficult. Okay, so in case if I face any kind of problem, will I get support from you or your team? Can I?
Yeah, you can always reach out to us. In fact, a lot of people have reached out to us on WhatsApp and calls to ask for questions. And
so where can I get your mobile number or?
I am in the group, ma'am. I'm in the WhatsApp. I'm in the group. Yes.
Okay, from there I can say, okay, sir.
Yes.
We will try before introducing to our school. So I have to be first. I have to learn everything.
All right.
It was
different.
really a very wonderful session, sir. Earlier, we were like afraid of what are robotics and how is programming done. But your sessions are really
Thank you,
started
ma'am.
from.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have got a little insight, but more practical work will make us more, confident. And we are coming up with
This
Atal
age,
Tinkering Lab. So,
Okay.
at this age, we
thank you.
become more interested in this thing.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
age is not a limitation at all, ma'am. That's something that.
Basically, the hitch has been removed by this
Of
workshop.
course, ma'am.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Thank
from the
you.
very beginning, you teach us from the very beginning. So that
Sir,
is
after
Yeah.
the quiz only we'll be able to tell how much we have understood. Hope we'll be able to
That
attend.
is something different, but we have got an insight actually.
Don't worry about it, ma'am. I think you'll all fare well in the quiz.
Sir, we
Uh,
need to work
Thank
hard
you.
for this.
Thank you.
It was very wonderful session altogether. But I just want to know that how to introduce this to the smaller kids, like through the components we should start, or how to go about like little bit of small activities to the third, fourth, and fifth standard children so that they get inspired.
Okay. So what we do for third and fourth, fifth standard students is we give them an understanding of mechanics. So when you look at third and fourth standard kids, we're talking of an age group 7, 8 years. No, if you remember, that is the age when we used to be really. We used to be really so hands-on. No, we used to break things, pull apart things. If we have a screwdriver, a plier in a hand, just remove everything, put apart things. And that is the age group where kids are more hands-on. So you have to give them something to play with. So if I put something, a bottle on the table and push the bottle, at what force will the bottle fall down? You don't have to teach them telling, okay, you have to apply force, so many newtons. No, none of that. You just have to make them experience things in a way where they're able to apply it later. So they know, okay, if I push something with a particular amount of dhakka or force, it falls. Maybe they don't know the words that are used. And if you tell them words, they will not remember. We have had this experience with kids. You tell them, you cannot tell them complex words, or you cannot give them something which their vocabulary itself doesn't know. So a force, current, voltage and all is a vocabulary that they learn in 6th, 7th standard. So if you tell them those words in third standard, imagine I tell you something like a word. I mean, I'm not Shashi Tharoor though. I cannot tell you a word that you've not heard of, and then expect you to learn about it. You would all the time wonder, where have I heard this? Is this something that I know? So usually we don't teach concepts to third or fourth standard kids. We just make them do a lot of things in hands-on, like pulley experiments, motor, turn on, rotate a motor, the light glows, all of these things. And don't tell them anything. You don't have to explain, okay, there are electrons which go, the electrons make the magnetic, creates a magnetic field, then it rotates. None of that. They will figure that out eventually. It's like when we were in school, when we were in first standard, all we were told is rainbows. When rain comes, rainbows come. That's all. Nobody told us about dispersion or anything, right? We eventually learned it when we reached 9th standard or 8th standard about, oh, okay, there is a concept called dispersion. But we knew for a fact that rainbows come only when it rains, and maybe it comes only on the west or east and all of that. So these are things that they will eventually learn. We only have to make them experience. We cannot deny them certain things. That's the only point. I'm just giving our what do you call this as social media links, just in case you want to follow us for updates. So we have a very beautiful blog that keeps coming, and photo blogs about what's happening in our office, who's doing what, and all of that. So I'm just putting that links together so that it's just visible for all of you. Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram. You can search for Just Robotics or Make Many Robots. Okay, 1 second. And on YouTube, you can search us for Just Robotics India.
Hello, participants. Hi, Brajesh.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. The question answer sessions is over. Good. We will join again in the afternoon at 2 o'clock for the valedictory quiz and feedback session.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great. So we thought once everyone joins, we can have a valedictory. We'll get feedback from them, and then we'll give the quiz questions so that we'll give some time for them to answer, and then we'll close the form after some time. Is that fine, Mr. Brajesh?
Yes, ma'am. That should be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, participants, we will join back at 2 o'clock for the last session of this FTP. We will give ample time for the test. Don't worry about it. We'll end the session, Mr. Brajesh. I think they don't have any other queries regarding that.
Okay, ma'am. I'll just put our contact details.
Yeah,
here,
let them take that. Let them take
and then you can reach out to us. You can reach out to me, and then I will share Vibhav's and Arun's contact details as well.
Yeah. I also request some of the participants in the afternoon session, please give us the feedback during the session. You can unmute yourself and give the feedback to us during those sessions. So I request some of the participants in the afternoon to be prepared to give the feedback. Next session, yeah, we'll start at 2 o'clock. Brajesh, we thought during the session we will have a grid mode. We'll ask them to on the camera. We can have a, photo session kind of a thing, right?
Yes, ma'am. We can do that.
Yeah. Okay then. Thank you.
Yeah. So all of you, just come with bright faces. So we'll have a good photo frame. We will have to do multiple because there are 150 participants. You'll have to do multiple shots.
We can do that.
Yeah. Just for that time, you can call your friends who are missing out on the session now. Just ensure that you are here and be in this well. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. You've been wonderful audience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ramya, attendance डाल दी मेरी.
You and your team.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, where exactly the college?
We are in Bangalore, sir. But I think pandemic has made all borders disappear. So we are literally like everywhere now.
Sir, all classes are online only.
Right now, all classes are online. We're not letting any students come down to our facility. We have a huge facility at here. We work out of a co-working space. All sorts of machines are available. So we actually manufacture robots.
Sir, which software you are using for online sessions? Is it Zoom?
We use Zoom.
Okay.
We use Zoom currently.
Right, sir. Thank you very much. Any AI sessions or AI online platforms are there to handle students online?
AI platforms to handle students, as in?
That means in the sense, to taking online exams or etc. to be without copying or other things like university level.
There are some of these tools available. You can reach out to me in person. Just leave us a mail or a message. I will give you the details of those things.
Thank you, sir.
Brajesh, sir, I have just one question from you.
Yes, sir.
In my school, if I want to establish a robotics lab, that is not there today. So what way I will go for it? Because this is the first time again CBSE is introducing this session with us. And we haven't the ATAL lab yet and no robotics, only the computer lab. But suppose in future we want to go for the entire school, this robotic lab. So can you help me in that also, or we have to do our own?
Yes, sir. It's my also, and I have the doubt the same kind. ATAL lab is there nearby, but actually it's not in a reachable position for us.
Because I think, sir, the learning of ours will be only fruitful once we can again give to the children whatever we learn, more than that. And that will be only possible once the lab will be established. It means the school management, the school and the teachers, all are responsible. So what way I should go? Infrastructures will provide. Some company should help us to establish it first. After that, of course, slowly and gradually we will be able to cope up. That is my question. So
sure, sir. We can help you set up robotics lab because the school already has enough infrastructure in terms of the room, computers, and all of that. One way of doing it is definitely ATAL, the ATAL Tinkering Labs. You can apply for it whenever the
right, sir.
List is open. Probably I'll take down all your email IDs so that, or if you're giving our email IDs in the feedback form, I'll take it from there. So what I can do is whenever the next window for ATAL labs are open, I can probably inform you so that you can apply and get it. That's one way of getting in terms of government sponsoring you to set up tinkering labs. And what goes in ATAL labs are also all components to do with robotics, and the motors, sensors, and processors. Just that it doesn't look like a robot. You might have to bring in a few wood materials or plastic materials and make things like robots. But most of the components in ATAL are robotic components only. So that's one option. Another option in terms of time is you can reach out to us. I've given my mail ID and my phone number here. Either leave me a WhatsApp message or just send me a mail. I'll give you the details of the program in terms of the lab and all of that. Depending on how much budget you have, you can start setting up, and then that's something that you can scale up eventually. You don't have to invest in huge amount of equipment because you don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow, right? So that's something that you can scale up as and when you see things progressing. So you can reach out to me. You just take down my number and just send me a mail, or just send me a WhatsApp message or a hi message. I can give you the details and then we can help you set up things.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sure, sure. I'll do that.
Good. I forgot one thing. In case people just want the kit, just send me a message. I will see that just the kit is made available to you so that you can do some practice. A good way to start is just spend, say, 500 rupees or 600 rupees and buy one small Arduino board to start programming. And from there, you can get going. Like whatever
that will be, of course, required, sir. Once we'll establish it, once we'll start working, that definitely will be required.
Right. And all the participants who even participated now, I'm requesting you just spend 600, 700 rupees. You'll get a small Arduino board, your computer, plug it, do some programming.
At least just to start with.
Just to get started, yes.
Just
to get started. So even we have a basic kit, you can take it, but I'm just telling, it's available on Amazon or anything. You can just reach out to us. We can even send it out to you. But just get started. Don't let this just fade away because you'll forget it very soon if you do not do hands-on. Right. All right. I'm ending the meeting right now, and I'm stopping the live share as well. We will catch up.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Can you share the discount code once again, sir? Discount code.
1 second, ma'am. I'll just message you, ma'am.
Yes, Bridget, sir, we have to join at 2 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am, 2 o'clock.
Hello?
We will join at 2 o'clock after lunch.
Sir, I'm not able to open the attendance link. It's not loading at all.
Just now I have mailed, sent it in chat box again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm not able to load it. It is still loading actually.
Yeah, still the session is going on. You can continue doing that. Just try.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Brijesh. Thank you all the participants for your active participation in this program on robotics. Hope all of you have enjoyed the sessions. We'll join back at 2 o'clock for the valedictory function and for feedback as well as for quiz at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
I think most of the sessions has been shared with you, and the future scope of this workshop also has been shared with from our industry partner, Just Robotics, who has shared maximum 12 sessions in this program. If you have any doubts in future, you can contact them. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Brijesh, for your cooperation in conducting this activity very smoothly, and all the sessions were excellent. So most of the sessions were with demo, and the takeaway from this is from the participants how they want to take this FTP in future in their schools. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. It would not have been possible without the support from you and Dr. Ambedkar Institute of Technology.
Thank you.
Ma'am and all of them. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. It is the AICT actually. AICT
ATAL, AICT
who has given me the opportunity to carry out this throughout India. Participants, connecting all the participants throughout India. So I should really thank AICT for having given me this opportunity. Okay, who
Thank
has
you, ma'am.
connected all of us together in this?
Yes, very good.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.